Today I'm going to be showing you 5 amazing tips to help you improve at FIFA 23. These have allowed me to get so many rank 1s this year, and I promise you they will help you improve your game. And most of them are quite easy to follow, but not a lot of you guys will know about them. First one we're going to be talking about today, guys, is the sprint boost. And honestly, this is the way I score most of my goals. So this one's really, really important to follow, and I've put the controller up on screen a lot larger so you guys can see the exact format of what I do to perform the sprint boost. Now this works on both old and new gen, and it's performed by holding the L1 dribble button and then releasing the L1 dribble button as you sprint. And what this is going to do for you is it's going to create an absolutely crazy sprint boost, and it just allows you to get beyond every defender on the game. A few things to know about the sprint boost: it has to be performed with players with really high agility and balance and good dribbling stats outside of that. And what this really does do is essentially glitches the game out, and it will allow you to just absolutely zoom at full speed straight away, and no defenders can keep up with this. And it's really, really good for just absolutely zooming past the defender. I'd probably say that this is my most used thing on FIFA 23. I use this on old and new gen, and it works an absolute treat. You have to learn this if you want to improve your ranks in FUT Champs, and if you just want to be a better player in FIFA 23. For number 2, guys, we're going to be talking about the player lock, and I cannot stress to you how important it is to learn this, even though it might seem a little bit daunting. The player lock is one of the biggest things to outsmart and outplay your opponent. The player lock is very simple to do. You just hold R3 and L3 down to initiate the player lock, and then you use the right stick to switch to the player you want to switch to. Not only does it work really well as bait, which I'll explain in a bit more detail shortly, but it also works really well for getting the through balls where you want them to go, which you do not get if you don't use the player lock. Quite often what will happen if you don't use the player lock, it will just go to the side with the through ball that you don't want it to. With the player lock, it always goes to the side you want it to. It's really good for the runs in behind, and it's a lot better than L1, R1 runs, in my opinion. As you're going to see via the footage, a lot of different instances where I use it to get in behind, to create a bit of space, to utilise it for cutbacks as well. It's really good for cutbacks if you don't fancy your chance of actually finding the player. You can essentially swap onto the player lock, drop your striker back a little bit so they can receive the ball, and create a really good chance. And now, fellas, for the player lock bait, this is going to be really simple to perform, and it's going to really, really outsmart your opponent. But not only that, it's going to give you a lot of space as well, guys. Let's say you've got a 2-striker formation. This is where this will work best as well. Let's say we've got Martial and Mbappe as our 2 strikers. Let's say Martial's got the ball. We decide to player lock. We're on the edge of the box. We player lock onto Mbappe, who's making a run into the box. Your opposition is going to be so worried about Mbappe on the player lock that you're going to get a lot of space with Martial, and you're just going to be able to run in behind, get beyond the defenders, and score a very easy goal. This is something I use an awful lot as well, and can be utilised on the cutbacks as well. The play lock is one of the most important things to learn on FIFA 23, and whilst it might sound a little bit overwhelming looking at the clips there and listening to the audio, I promise you that if you learn this, it really, really is a game changer. It adds a complete different element to your creativity on the attacking side of things, and you can outsmart your opponent so easily with it. For number 3, guys, we have once again another ridiculously important thing to learn, and I cannot stress this enough. Once again, this is probably more important than the player lock, just about, because it will up your finishing and how many goals you score by a shed ton. So this one is going to be timing your shots. And a lot of people think, oh, why would I learn timing my shots? It's not really that important. Wrong. That's absolutely 100% wrong. When you time your shot, you can score from different angles. You can score from far out. And I'm pretty sure, similar to the sprint boost, what the time shot actually does is it gives you 99 shot power regardless of the player you're shooting with. Shot power is one of the most important things on FIFA 23 as well. If you have low shot power and you're not green timing your shots, it makes a lot of players that are supposed to be really good on FIFA kind of mid-tier. Someone like Neymar, who's really good generally, has low shot power, so you need a chemistry style to boost that up. But if you green time your shots, you can put a chemistry style on him that doesn't boost his shot power, which allows you to boost in other areas where Neymar needs to be better. So on and so forth for players like Johan Cruyff as well. Low shot power, green time your shots, gets rid of the issue. But it's not just about the shot power. Your general finishing will go up when you do time your shots, and you can score crazy goals, good power shots, finesse shots, outside foot shots, and it really does take you from finishing in like the rank 5 to finishing to rank 3. Timing your shots cannot be understated. I promise you, if you learn how to time your shots like I do, you'll score 10 times more goals. It also works really well on 3-star weak foots or lower. I actually trust my players on a 3-star weak foot if I'm timing the shot. Now, of course, guys, this is one that's a bit more of a learning curve. I feel like this is the hardest one to learn because it's only like 1 or 2 frames. You do get to power your shot and time it correctly. If you need to practice against a friend doing this, if you need to go into the practice arena and do some skill games, all of them things will help you learn to time your shots better. And at some point, if you keep on doing it over and over and over, it will become muscle memory and you'll have it down to a T. I still red time a few, not very often, and I always know that if I need to score a goal, I'm going to have to time it. And it's a very high pressure thing, but once you let that go, it'll become second nature to you, and it will really, really help you. For cheap FIFA 23 coins, make sure to check out MMOEXP.com to get fast and reliable coins, and make sure you use code VIPER at checkout, get yourself a 5% discount. And then next up we have crossing. Now crossing is an art form that has kind of lost its way on FIFA, but a lot of people don't utilise this, and I don't really understand why. So easy to do. All you need to do is a ball roll and then a cross, and you're going to see how much venom the crosses get whipped in with, and how often they find the player you want it to find. Now it is of course better to have players that are good in the air, Cristiano Ronaldo, Peter Crouch, Giroud, players like that that are really, really awesome in terms of jumping, or are really, really tall. So if you can get a mixture of both of that, you're going to really, really find this to be absolutely insane. And yeah, as I said, just a skill move, then a cross. The ball roll is the easiest one to do. They really whip it in with a lot of venom. I don't really understand why they do that, but it really does work, and it's really broken, and nobody really uses this. And that is surprising to me, because it's a really nice added way to score goals. And this is what this video is meant to be. It's meant to be showing you loads of ways to score different goals and be a bit more creative with your play. And the crossing here is no different. This one is genuinely one of the easiest ones to learn on the list from today, and I think you guys will be able to master this quite quickly. As I said, make sure you have tall players, make sure you have players that are good in the air with good heading accuracy and good jumping. Just a ball roll and then a cross. And then the last one for today, guys, before we do a complete overview of everything, is going to be finesse shots. Now, finesse shots were really broken last year from the top of the box, and this year they weren't as prevalent because Trivella's / outside foot shots were really, really broken at the start of the game. They have kind of fallen off now. They are still good, not as consistent though. A more consistent way to score now is to actually do finesse shots from the top of the box, and they work really well. Of course, this now leans in to the timing of your shots. If you want these to go in very consistently, you're going to need to time them. And you've got to make sure that the player that you're doing them with has the finesse shot trait. And they absolutely fly. And it's a really good corner technique as well, if you can beat the first man. What I usually do is I sprint boost to beat the first man, do a ball roll into the finesse shot. And that's the other thing about the finesse shot, is you're going to need to be making sure you are doing a ball roll first. Similar to the cross, you're going to need to make sure that you do the ball roll as well. And this is adding a lot of things in that we've already learned. The time shot, the crossing ball roll, and the sprint boost all into one here to make you score more goals from finesse shots. And I find these to be a lot better than the Trivellas. I find that Trivellas are very hard to get right now. You need to get the kind of loop on the Trivella to make it go in. But with this, you don't need to do that. All you need to do is that ball roll into a time finesse shot, making sure they have the finesse shot trait. Don't always need to make sure they have the finesse shot trait, but if you do, you're going to score even more of them. I would say when I do time these from the top of the box, regardless of if it's a corner or not, they go in probably 7 times out of 10, which is a pretty good hit rate in my opinion. And of course, this is really good against players that drop back. And that's why I like the Trivellas, is because against players that drop back, you can just create a little bit of space and do the Trivella to score. And that is essentially what you're going to get with a finesse shot now. Not a lot of people are using this either. I find this to be a really good way to score. That is going to wrap up today's video though, guys. So if it did help you, make sure you leave a like on it and you subscribe to the channel as well. We do player reviews and all sorts of custom tactics also. And just to go over everything that we did talk about today, first of all was the sprint boost and how that can really help you, and of course all of these things work on both old and new gen. Second of all, we went over the player lock and how important that is to really up your game to the next level. Then we talked about time finishing and how that can really, really up your game also. Then we went on to crossing, and then we talked about finesse shots. So if you guys do utilize these things and you do implement them into your game, I promise you will go up the ranks in FUT Champs and you will become a better player. But guys, as I said, that's it for this video. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell so you don't miss a video. But guys, that's going to be it for me for now, so take care.